You don't belong. Racist Karen smashed my mailbox. I replaced it with steel and wrecked her car. There is a particular kind of silence that falls over a neighborhood when a predator is on the prowl, but in the manicured, gated community of Whispering Pines, the predator didn't have claws. She had a beige HOA clipboard and a deep-seated hatred for the fact that a black man had moved into the largest house on the cul-de-sac. My name is Anthony, and I am a structural engineer who specializes in reinforcing bridges and skyscrapers against earthquakes. I deal with physics, load-bearing capacities, and unyielding materials for a living. I bought this house for my family to give them a safe, quiet life, but from the day the moving truck pulled up, I became the target of a woman named Linda. Linda was the HOA president, a position she wielded like a feudal lord. She had filed complaints about my aggressive landscaping. She had called the police because my dog looked threatening. He is a golden retriever. And she constantly stopped my wife to ask if she was the help. But her favorite method of harassment was vehicular. My house sits on a slight curve, and for the first 3 months, Linda managed to accidentally run over my mailbox for separate times. Each time, it was the same story. I would come home to find my standard aluminum post flattened, my mail in the mud, and tire tracks leading straight back to the road. When I confronted her, she would smirk, a cold, racist expression that made my blood boil, and say, "Oh, Anthony, maybe you shouldn't put your property so close to the street. It's hard to see things that don't belong here." The subtext was louder than a siren. You don't belong here. After the 4th time, when she knocked the box down and didn't even leave a note, I realized this wasn't bad driving. It was a message. She was trying to bully me into submission, to make me feel unsafe in my own front yard. She thought she was dealing with a passive victim who would just keep replacing cheap aluminum posts until he got the hint and moved away. She didn't realize she was picking a fight with a man who calculates impact resistance for a living. I decided that the 5th time would be the last time. I didn't get mad. I got to work. I went to the industrial supply yard and bought a 10-foot length of 8-inch heavy-gauge steel pipe, the kind used for oil pipelines. I bought 3 bags of high-strength, quick-setting concrete. I dug a hole that went 4 feet deep, well below the frost line and into the hard-packed clay. I placed the steel pipe in the center, filled the hole with concrete, and reinforced it with rebar. I then filled the inside of the pipe with concrete all the way to the top. I welded a heavy-duty steel plate to the side to hold the mailbox. Once it was dry, I painted the entire thing a tasteful, HOA-compliant matte black and encased it in a decorative wooden shell, so it looked exactly like a standard, flimsy mailbox. It was a wolf in sheep's clothing. It was an immovable object waiting for an unstoppable force. Saturday morning arrived, the air crisp and cool. It was Linda's usual time to patrol the neighborhood for infractions. I was standing in my driveway, wearing my bathrobe and holding a cup of coffee, just enjoying the morning sun. I heard the engine before I saw the car. Linda came speeding around the corner in her gray SUV, drifting slightly wide. She wasn't looking at the road. She was looking right at my mailbox with a look of determined malice. She swerved. It wasn't an accident. She aimed her right bumper directly at the wooden post, expecting to hear the satisfying crunch of wood snapping and metal bending. She expected to drive over my property again and laugh about it at brunch. Instead, physics took the wheel. Clang crunch. The sound was deafening, like a bomb going off. When her SUV hit the disguised steel pillar, the mailbox didn't move a millimeter. The energy of the impact had nowhere to go but back into her car. The front of her SUV crumpled like a soda can. The bumper disintegrated, the radiator exploded in a cloud of steam, and the entire front right quarter panel was sheared backward. The airbags deployed with a dusty poof, filling the cabin with white powder. The car slammed to a halt instantly, the rear wheels lifting off the ground for a split second before slamming back down. Linda screamed, a high-pitched wail of shock and terror. She kicked her door open and stumbled out, coughing, waving the airbag dust away. She looked at her destroyed car, then at the mailbox which stood perfectly straight, not even scratched. Then she looked at me. I hadn't moved. I was still holding my coffee, pointing at her, and laughing, a deep, belly laugh that I couldn't hold back. "What did you do?" she shrieked, her face turning purple with rage. "You tried to kill me. You put a rock in there. You're crazy." She was hysterical, pointing at the wreckage of her $60,000 vehicle. "I put a mailbox up, Linda. I called out, taking a sip of my coffee. A sturdy one, just like you asked. She dialed 911, screaming that I had set a booby trap. When the police arrived, they found a very different scene than she described. They saw a woman who had clearly left the roadway to strike a fixed object. The officer, a veteran who knew Linda's reputation, looked at the tire tracks. "Ma'am," he said calmly, "you crossed the white line. You hit a mailbox on private property. Why were you driving on his lawn?" "He reinforced it," she yelled. "It's illegal. It destroyed my car." "It's a mailbox, ma'am," the officer said, checking the code. "As long as it breaks away or is clearly visible." Actually, checking the statutes, he's allowed to protect his mail. You, however, are liable for failure to maintain control of a vehicle. Linda went pale. Her insurance company later denied her claim because the police report indicated intentional collision with a fixed object. She was on the hook for the entire replacement cost of her SUV, plus the cost of repainting the scratches on my steel post. The humiliation broke her. She resigned from the HOA board a month later because the neighbors couldn't stop laughing every time they drove past the iron mailbox. She eventually moved away, claiming the neighborhood had changed too much. Now, every time I walk out to get my mail, I pat that cold steel post. It stands there as a monument to the day Linda found out that while she might run the HOA, she doesn't run physics, and she certainly doesn't run over me. Linda thought her car was a weapon she could use to bully me out of my own home, but she learned that steel beams don't budge for bigotry. She wanted to crush my spirit, but she only succeeded in crushing her radiator. If you love seeing racists get a heavy dose of instant karma, smash that like button. And tell me in the comments, have you ever had to fortify your property against a bad neighbor? What did you build? I want to see your engineering genius below. Subscribe for more stories of indestructible justice. See you next time.